Dharamjot, coming to you, what we are also learning is that the building top on which the plane crashed, the Air India plane which crashed, was a doctor's hostel. Police say that they have reached the spot in a few minutes and they have cleared most of the area. Like what we were also discussing, 70 to 80% of the area has been cleared. But what the information we're getting now is that the building top on which the plane crashed is a doctor's hostel, because the Air India flight which crashed, it crashed near the Meghani Nagar area, which is the residential area, which further complicates the rescue operations which is currently underway.
Well, you're right, Rayesha. It indeed has crashed in a doctor's hostel, which is a residential area, as you rightly mentioned. However, we still don't know if there is any casualty on the ground, as my colleague Siddhant rightly mentioned. That the level of damage in that respect is still need to be ascertained. We are still waiting for official information if there were people inside the residential area in the building, the hostel building at that point. If so, how many people were there? Were they able to get out on time? Have they faced any sort of injuries, or are there any casualties in that building after the flight crashed into it a few hours ago? So all of that information is still awaited. We do, however, know that the police reached the spot within a few minutes, and at this point most of the area has been cleared. So it needs to be ascertained whether there is any loss or injury to human life. That is not something we're aware of at this point officially, Rayesha. We can, however, see in the visuals and the photos that we're playing out that there is damage, infrastructural damage in the area. So whether or not that has translated into any tragical damage of human life, that is something that still needs to be ascertained. Also, more information coming in at this point that all doctors' leave has been cancelled in the Ahmedabad Civil Hospital after the incident, the tragedy of the plane crash that has unfolded at the international airport. This is the information that is just coming in, Rayesha. Leave of all the doctors has been cancelled at the Ahmedabad Civil Hospital. Now we do know that Air India, the Air India official page and others have put out information saying that there are a few injuries with respect to the passengers who were on board. We do not know the scale of injury at this point. We're also aware that as soon as this the crash took place, officials reached on site immediately. They started dousing the fire. They started rescuing passengers who were inside, and they were then sent to nearby hospitals and the civil hospital in Ahmedabad as well. After which we're now getting this information that doctors who are on leave or doctors who are present who might have to go on leave, the leave has been cancelled for all the medical staff over there at Ahmedabad Civil Hospital. Another information coming in, Rayesha, the Ministry of Civil Aviation has put out information as well. The Ministry of Civil Aviation in a tweet has said, and I'm quoting, "In light of the AI-171 crash, an operational control room has been activated at the Ministry of Civil Aviation to coordinate all the details." They have put out 2 contact numbers that will be active in this operational control room, which has now been activated in light of the incident. The post further goes on to read, "We are committed to swift response and full support to all the affected." So this is where things stand at the moment, Rayesha. We do know the number of passengers and crew who was present on the flight. That's 242 in all. However, we're not aware of any official information yet on the number of casualties or any tragic loss of life that might have taken place. That is something that is yet to be ascertained, Rayesha.
Right, Dharamjot, we have a correspondent, Siddhant Sibal, here with us. Siddhant, we were just talking about the international repercussions of this fatal crash, and news just coming in is that the UK Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, has said that his thoughts are with the passengers and families of those on the Air India flight, which was bound for London Gatwick and crashed in Ahmedabad just 5 minutes after the crash. Tell us more.
Well, this is something that is expected. Now we know that there were over 50 British nationals on board. So I'm pretty sure that the British authorities must be reaching out to the Indian authorities when it comes to this crash. One thing I can say that the missions of UK, Canada, and particularly right now are actively monitoring the situation for any kind of information that is arising. The second, of course, is condolences have started to pour from various other foreign missions as well, which is on expected lines. And the third, of course, is that I do expect the leaders of these countries, UK, Canada, Portugal, at certain time give a message as well when it comes to what has happened, the accident that has happened. But this is an evolving situation. The government is still yet to put out the casualty figures. The third, of course, is there are obviously this is an accident that has happened of huge proportions. So, of course, in terms of not only casualty figures, but the situation that is happening, the government is, of course, giving out information, but it will be information based on facts. And, of course, one thing that is clear in terms of what has happened on the ground, I'm getting latest visuals also of the ground where the plane crash happened. And we know that from those visuals, we can see buildings which have been charged, which are completely burned out. We also know that firefighters are also present on the ground trying to douse the fire. And we also believe that the Indian military is also being involved in some ways in terms of providing support as well. Meanwhile, the French ambassador and the Russian ambassador both now have issued their condolences after the deadly plane crash in the western Indian state of Gujarat.
Right, Siddharth. Coming back to Dharamjot, information coming in is also because the focal point right now is the rescue operations and to rescue the injured passengers after that fatal crash of the Air India flight bound for London. The Indian Army and the Army camp in Ahmedabad, they have broken their boundary wall so that there's easy access to the site of the crash. So, Dharamjot, at this point of time, from the military to the police officers, the rescue team, the fire brigade and the state and the central administration, it's like all hands on desk to safeguard and to rescue the injured passengers. Tell us more on this.
Well, you're absolutely right, Resha. In fact, this is the information that we do have so far. All the available security personnel and agencies on the ground, from the military to the paramilitary to police to the NDRF personnel, are being deployed. It indeed is an all hands on deck situation given the scale of the tragedy that has unfolded after the Air India flight crashed just minutes after takeoff in Ahmedabad. Now, as you rightly mentioned, this is the scale of it, as we can see in the visuals on our screens. It definitely looks very tragic. The situation does look grim. We did see that when the flight was crashing, it then erupted in flames. So it clearly is a very tragic incident that has unfolded. We still don't know officially how many passengers are injured and what the scale of injury is, but we do know that several of them have sustained injuries. Now, given the kind of situation, this is where things stand, Resha, which is why the Indian Army has also been deployed to ensure that they have maximum personnel present on ground. The state authorities and others present on ground are also trying to ensure that there is maximum personnel present in the medical infrastructure as well, which is why, as I mentioned a little while ago, that leave has been cancelled for all doctors at the Ahmedabad Civil Hospital. And then we're also seeing the Indian Army now step in. They have, as you mentioned, broken down the boundary wall of the Army cantonment area in Ahmedabad. And they've done this to allow for easy access to the site of the crash. They're also taking all the logistics into consideration, given that first there may be a narrow sort of, access available. So to kind of make it easy, make the process quicker, given that this is a time-sensitive matter, the Indian Army has chosen to break down at the boundary wall and ensure that all the security officials and all the agencies who are present on the ground can ensure that that the situation is curtailed as much as they possibly can. It still remains a tragic situation. We do know that there are passengers on board who have been injured. We don't know if anybody has been injured in the residential building, the doctor's hostel, in which the plane crashed into. So we're still not aware of any official confirmation on that. We're still awaiting any formal word from authorities on ground with respect to the kind of damage to human life, if at all any, has happened at the moment. Now, having said that, there are other kinds of details also coming out, Raisha, at this moment. There is details from the flight radar. This is not official, but flight radar has put in information saying that they lost the signal from the aircraft AI-171 shortly after it took off. It is saying it lost the connection seconds after the flight took off. So this is where things stand at the moment, Resha. Again, as we know, all the teams were rushed to the site. Everyone is trying to curtail the situation as effectively as they can and as soon as they can. But we still don't have any clarity in terms of the scale of damage to human life at this point, Resha.
Right, Dharamjot, no clarity on the scale of damage and the number of passengers who have been injured after that fatal crash. Like you also mentioned, that it's of course too early to say anything officially, but flight radar says that it lost signal within seconds after takeoff, because we do know that the Air India flight crashed 5 minutes after taking off at 1:38 p.m. IST. And reports also suggest that the pilot of the Air India flight, we do know that there were 2 pilots on board the Air India flight, that the pilot had issued a mayday call to air traffic control moments before the crash near Ahmedabad.